visitors and guests who are here. We pray for the road safety, and especially them that may have been injured on road accidents, that you may heal them, make Kenyans to be more responsible as we use the roads. We pray that you make Kenya an icon, a beacon to be admired by everybody in the Horn of Africa and the world. We invite your presence once again, that you may go with us. We dedicate the program to your hands. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you very much. Our distinguished guest, Cabinet Secretary for Transport, if you allow, may I take this opportunity to say thank you very much for creating your time to come and be with us today. I want to say thank you very much to our partners, development partners who are here, our principal secretaries and other dignitaries. I want now to take this opportunity with honor to invite the Principal Secretary, State Department for Transport, to now come and take over the program from here. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning. The Cabinet Secretary for Roads and Transport. I want to recognize also the members of the Diplomatic Corps who are with us today, Ambassador Sebastian Roth from the Republic of Germany. We also have the Deputy Ambassador of the EU who is with us today. We also have EIB with us today. I can see the team of GIZ, Hannah and Michael, who are our key partners with us today. We also have other government officials with us today, starting with my colleagues, fellow principal secretaries who are very key in this e-mobility process that we're doing. I'll start with the PS industry, Dr. Juma Mukwana, who is with us today. My colleague, who is very instrumental, PS Alex Washira. We have the climate envoy, Ali Dawood, who has joined us here today. PS Roads, Engineer Joseph Mbugwa. PS Investment Promotion, Public and Private Investment Promotion, Abubakar Hassan. We have also members of parliament who are with us today, particularly from the Transport Committee. I can see a number of them. Please stand so that we can all appreciate you. This is our mother committee in Parliament that we work with. I also want to recognize the task force that put all this policy together, led by their chairman, Wakili Daniel Ngumi, and alongside him, please, other members of the task force who are with us today, please, if you could rise. Yes, Waziri, this is the team that put everything together. The Vice Chair, Jerutis Holding, is there with us. Abdullahi is there, and everybody else that we have worked with. I see Prof there, that have been very instrumental. We also have, please, you may take your seats. We also have different government officials, but principally, let me start with the respective Director Generals that were with us today. Top of my head, I remember Engineer Silas Kinoti from Kura. We also have Bwana Philip Mainga. I can't spot him, but I saw him. The MD of Kenya Railways Corporation. Yes, we have the Competition Authority of Kenya with us today. We have the Director General of NAMATA, Engineer Francis Gitau. Any other DG outside transport and roads? Okay. We also have staff of the Ministry of Roads and Transport who we worked jointly, and also aviation. If you're here, please stand so that we can see you. Rachel, Robin, Pius, Justo, Susan, and everybody else. I want to make sure that I recognize everybody so that whoever comes here can say, DG, Acting DG, NTSA, yes, Engineer Angela is with us here today. I also see the chairman of NTSA, Honorable Hatib Mwashetani. Thank you for coming. Any other chairman or DG that I've missed? Okay. I'm recognizing everybody, and last but not least, our key stakeholders who we have just finished looking at the exhibition outside. If you are with us today, please stand, because you are the drivers of this e-mobility. And from today, you will have a very key role of making sure that it's done. All right? These are all our stakeholders in this process, and all protocols observed. So I will quickly, I don't know if we have the presentation with us. I just want to make a very few remarks on this particular policy. We are all aware that Kenya is a member of the Paris Agreement. The Paris Agreement's main role is to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, and by this we have made several commitments. The transport sector in the world accounts for 25% of all the greenhouse gas emissions. And here in Kenya, all these petroleum products that we import as a country, the transport sector consumes almost 3/4 of that, about 72%. My cabinet secretary was the Minister for Energy and Petroleum, and he always reiterates that we spend over 600 billion Kenya shillings in 2023 just to import petroleum products inside the country. And this has an impact on our foreign exchange as a nation. Also here in Kenya, we are responsible of contributing 70% of all energy-related greenhouse gas emissions. And we have made our contributions of reducing GHG emissions by 32% in the year 2030. I am aware that we have even made submissions for the year 2035 by reducing the greenhouse emission by 35%, if I'm correct, Climate Envoy. You will see that almost 100% of the emissions in this country emanate from roads. And then we have the diesel-powered rail and maritime sector, which contribute 1% each. And then we also have aviation, though in this country we are adopting the sustainable aviation fuels, which also contribute 2% of the entire emission in the transport sector. Now, when you look at the plan, which is our manifesto for this administration, you will see that, I think page 30-something, that coming up with this e-mobility policy was a priority for this administration. It is clearly pointed out, and that is why we are here today to deliver this manifesto commitment. How did we do this is the task force that I introduced. Our task force was set up in the year 2023. There was a chair, vice chair, and different members. This task force, it is important to mention that this task force was composed by Kenyans fully. Yes, we were supported by development partners, but this e-mobility policy was put together by Kenyans, largely almost all of them from the private sector, and supported by a secretariat of government. So it is something to be very proud of, and we're doing this intentionally because we believe other member countries can then come and benchmark from our country. Our vision is, of course, to be a leader in electric mobility transition, not only in this country, but it's in Africa. And how we want to do this is to create a path of putting up a sustainable and equitable transportation system powered by e-mobility. The objectives of this policy are, one, to develop a legal framework in place, which I'm going to explain how we're going to do this. 2 is to promote local manufacturing and assembly. We're working very closely with our Ministry of Industry, Investment and Trade on this. 3 is to develop an infrastructure capacity so as the adoption of EVs becomes easier. 4 is to build local technical capacity so that we can manufacture here, we can do battery swaps here, and we can have the knowledge in this country. 5, and of importance, is to improve the fiscal and non-fiscal measures to accelerate the adoption of EVs. We saw this in the Finance Bill of 2025 on the different measures that I'm going to speak up to. 6 is to scale up the socio-economic measures to promote the adoption of e-mobility. And lastly is to develop alternative sources of funds to reduce over-reliance on the fuel levy for road maintenance, rehabilitation, and development. You will see that this is a study that was done by our agency, Kenya Roads Board, under the ministry. We anticipate that the newly registered electric vehicles will surpass the internal combustion engine vehicles by the year 2042, based on the current growth projection. It might sound a bit far, but 10 years from now, the number of newly registered ICE vehicles will start to decrease and electronic vehicles will grow. That is the year 2037. Now, the big question here in the room is, yes, we have a policy. How are we going to implement this? So we have an implementation framework in place, and it is 3-tier. Number 1 is that we are going to have a steering committee composed of cabinet secretaries, led by the cabinet secretaries for roads and transport, who will coordinate other ministries of energy, industry, environment, the National Treasury, education, the Attorney General, the county governments through the Council of Governors, and also the Chair of Development Partners that is convened by the Office of the Deputy President. In terms of the implementation, we'll have a committee of principal secretaries together with the relevant CEOs of different state agencies. We'll also have in there the Council of Governors and the Development Partners, and then we'll have the technical working groups, which is the driver of the implementation of this policy. The next slide will talk about these technical working groups, which we have 5. The first technical working group will basically look at the legal framework in place. We are looking at either establishing an omnibus bill, looking at the entire e-mobility infrastructure at a place, or looking at the different acts that are there and trying to amend that. So it's work that is ongoing as we speak, and this is chaired from my office. The second one, and the most important one also, is on industry, basically on setting up the manufacturing and assembly. And my colleague, PS in charge of investment, is helping us in putting this all together. Third, every time people ask, I'm going to buy an EV, but where am I going to charge it? And that is why this is a very critical sector. And that is where we have PS Alex, who is also our Dean of the PSS, who will help us in unlocking anything related to energy in this sector. Fourth is research and development. You are aware that in the last State of the Union, State of the Nation address, research and development has been pronounced as a very key deliverable in this administration, and we have the State Department for Research and Innovation to help us in this. And lastly, of course, are the incentives, both in terms of fiscal and non-fiscal, that will be headed by the National Treasury. And all these technical working groups, committees are ongoing and work is continuing. The implementation status, you will see that in the current finance bill, we zero-rated VAT on e-buses, e-bicycles, e-motorcycles, and the batteries. We also reduced excise duties on e-bicycles, e-motorcycles, and the batteries. We also have a key partner with us here today, GIZ, who are supporting us in 2 projects related to e-mobility. One is the e-mobility project, and the other one is on optimizing vehicle efficiency, where we're monitoring the consumption of fuels in ICE vehicles. We also have other partners with us, like the UC Davis from the United States of America, who are very key with us. We also have the IFC, who are very key partners of us, and the World Bank and many other actors, and they are coordinated through a chair. I've already talked about the 5 technical working groups, and EPRA, which is an agency under the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum, is looking at the vehicle charging and battery swapping infrastructure guidelines. We are also looking at the ongoing development of transition target that is done under the Ministry of Roads and Transport. The Ministry of Education is doing a feasibility study on e-mobility training skills assessment. We are also developing the technical specification for electric vehicles and charging infrastructure for fleet acquisition under phase 4 of the leasing program of official government transport. The ministry was very instrumental. We were working very closely with the Ministry of Interior and the National Treasury. This is an exercise that is near completion in the government leasing program that it has. We have also developed an e-mobility digital observatory platform under the Ministry of Roads and Transport, and this has been supported by the IFC. We're looking at the legal gaps that I have just spoken to try to identify the legal challenges to ensure a smooth implementation of this policy. We have submitted to Parliament the sessional paper on e-mobility, and we are also developing the National E-Mobility Bill as we speak. The World Resource Institute, our other key partner, I don't know if they're with us here today, they're helping us in conducting an impact study on the adoption of EVs on the Road Maintenance Levy Fund. I'm sure my CS will speak to this more, because it's a very critical fund in this country, and we need to know the impact that EVs is going to have on this particular fund. To conclude is that we are mobilizing resources jointly as government to ensure that we address the policy issues that are in all the 5 technical working groups. We're working very closely with the county governments to implement county-specific activities, like the Nairobi county government has come up with guidelines on public infrastructure of EVs. We're also working very closely with our development partners, and the implementation will be private sector driven, who are with us here today, and who have really increased the uptake of e-mobilities. We had around 400 registered EVs in the year 2022. We now have close to 25,000 registered vehicles. That will end my presentation right now, so I want first to invite a few people to make some comments before we then invite the representatives, the respective ambassadors who are here to make comments. One, I want to invite the chair of the task force to come and make very brief comments on his experience in developing this task force. Karibu, Mr. Daniel Ngumi.
Good morning, everyone. Your Excellency, the Honorable Cabinet Secretary for Roads and Transport, Excellencies, Ambassadors from the Republic of Germany, the EU Ambassador, dignitaries, invited guests, all protocols observed. Good morning. My name is Daniel Ngumi. I was the chairman of the task force responsible for setting up the policy. As has already been observed by the principal secretary, the task force was highly honored to have been involved in this task of drafting and putting together the initial electric mobility policy for the Republic of Kenya. It is our hope and our dream and our ambition to see that electric mobility will change not just the Republic of Kenya, but the African continent. We believe that there will be significant development of clean energy use. We believe that it will incentivize local manufacturing and assembly. We believe it will create employment opportunities for many Kenyans across this country. We believe it will change academia when academic changes are done to the curriculum in order to develop and incentivize the ability of technical education for purposes of adoption of electric mobility. We believe that the use of the grid will be utilized in a much better way, particularly during the downtime hours, where electric mobility will be utilized off-peak during the hours where charging will take place. And we believe that this is the beginning of a green revolution. So on behalf of the task force, which was given this national duty, a big privilege to us, we are particularly grateful for the efforts that have been put together by the Ministry of Roads and Transport. We are particularly grateful for the development partners who worked with us, who gave us technical support. We had a lot of input from the likes of IFC, from the likes of McKinsey, all funded by our development partners. And we are particularly grateful that today is the beginning of a journey which will see Kenya changing in a fantastic new way. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Wakili. I don't know if the Group CEO of Kenya Commercial Bank is with us. Remember, he said he's rushing somewhere. Mr. Paul, I can't spot you. All right. Can I have a representative from EMAC just to come and give his remarks? Karibu Bwana Hezron.
I was accompanied by Agnes, one of the users. If she can join me on stage, if you don't mind, PS.
Please tell us what the Electric Mobility Association of Kenya is.
All right.
It's important.
All right. Cabinet Secretary of Roads and Transport, Mr. David Schucher, Ambassador from Germany, and the Deputy Ambassador from EU, PSs, honorable members. I just want to say good morning. My name is Hezbon Mose, and I'm the president of EMAC. I'm sure it's not the president you expected. My president is a small p and a very silent p, so just to be clear. And the E-Mobility Association of Kenya is basically an organization that is comprising about 54 members, organizations, that our role is just advocacy, innovation, public awareness, and training of e-mobility in Kenya. I'm accompanied by one of the users who will give her experience, and on behalf of EMAC, I just want to take this opportunity to participate in the launch, and we're actually showcasing what our organization are doing. We're basically demonstrating that e-mobility in Kenya is no longer a story. It is happening, it is working, and it's growing. Today, policy takes time, and we are glad that actually we are here to showcase that actually we were able to launch it today. So why are people transitioning to e-mobility in Kenya today? It is the value proposition that actually the e-mobility is providing to our regular Wanjiku is what we call it in Kenya. So our users, the boda bodas, the Uber drivers, the SACCOs, and the bus drivers today, bus owners, are today experiencing a 30 to 40% cost savings on energy. That's where they're transitioning to EVs today. And the cost savings is specifically on energy and on low maintenance costs. So today, I think the reason why we are celebrating this today is deliberately, as PS mentioned earlier, that in 2023 Finance Act, we were able to get a VAT exemption on specific on buses, lithium-ion batteries, and motorcycles. And with that, we were able to reduce the costs on their end users, which actually helped increase the adoption of EVs today. So on statistics, just to make a few corrections to PS, between 2018 and 2022, we had a cumulative of 1,057 registered vehicles in the country. Within 5 years, we had 1,057. Out of that, it was 678 motorcycles, 3 buses, and 120 passenger vehicles, all EVs. Once we got the Finance Act in 2023, it significantly jumped in 1 year, and the new registrations in 2023 was 2,695. 2,557 motorcycles, 19 buses from 3 buses, and 47 passenger vehicles registered in 2023. Fast forward to 2025, this is last year, new data from NTSA, we had 24,000 new registered vehicles in the country last year. So I think a big hand to the country growing on EVs. Last year we had 23,000 newly registered motorcycles, 106 bus registration last year, and 77 vehicles. Cumulatively, year to date, we have 43,000 EVs in this country from 1,000 3 years ago. So it's a significant increase. So a big hand to the country. On energy consumption, in 2024, EVs consumed 3.1 gigawatts. 2024. In 2025, it tripled to 9.1 gigawatts based on the new registrations. With those numbers, curtailment in 2025 recorded by EPRA was 669 gigawatts. So EVs are actually coming and actually taking up the curtailment and supporting using this curtailment. And eventually, as we keep on growing these EVs, we will see a drop in electricity cost, hopefully, and basically that translates to more value proposition to our users. So I think from an investment perspective, EVs basically on the value chain have contributed to more than 300 million investments in the country. And with this launch, we see a significant increase in investment. This gives confidence to our investors to keep on investing in the country. So our only request from EMAC is one. The policy was done about 2 years ago. We are here today. Implementation plan has been created. The request from the private sector is how can we accelerate and how can we support accelerating the implementation so we can keep on growing EVs in the country. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Agnes Atieno Alo. I stand here as a user of the electric vehicles. I've been driving the electric vehicle for 2 years now. I started with the lower version of it, which was, I think, 120 kilometers. And the charging infrastructures was not well spread, so it was a real struggle because after a few minutes, you have to stop, recharge the vehicle, and continue the journey. But beginning this year, there was a better version of the EV vehicle, which goes for at least 500 kilometers. That is MG4. There are quite a number besides the MG4. And I'm actually leasing it because the vehicle is very expensive. The common Kenyan cannot afford it. So what I would request our ministry is at least make it affordable. A taxi driver like me cannot afford a 5 million vehicle or even 3 million. If you can make it slightly lower than that, I think it would be good for us. If I compare the EV vehicle with the fuel, it's very cheap. I would say that without fear of contradiction, because I would drive to Kisumu with fuel costing 8,000. This time around, I went to Kisumu, charged my vehicle for 2,000, and I reached Kisumu, and I still had 20%, which would go for 100 kilometers. So in terms of cost, it's very affordable. But, cost in, driving it, but buying it, I can't afford that. So what I would request, give us a subsidy, and even as women, we are quite a few women in that sector because even affording it, where I lease my vehicle, we need to pay something like 200,000. Not so many women can do that unless you borrow it from a chama. So if you can get a subsidy or maybe a funding to cater for us women, we really appreciate. That's my take on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President and Agnes, for those remarks. Before I invite Honorable TJ Kajwang to speak on behalf of our committee, let me invite my colleague, PS Industry, Dr. Mukwana. The people who just left here are your people. Come and endorse what they have spoken about.
Thank you, all protocols observed, ambassadors, our CS, Chirichil, our climate envoy, my colleague PSs, Washira, Mbugwa, Abubakar. This has been an exciting journey for us. I think that in 2023, I remember the first request that we had was from Spiral, and we made a very bold decision, because usually if you bring a fully assembled car, you pay 35% on import duty. And I remember for us to try and create this market, we allowed Spiro to bring in 10,000 motorbikes duty-free and batteries to support. And that time we were thinking maybe we needed Kenyans to interact with the technology, then we can figure out how to tax them. Since then, I have visited a number of assemblers. I've been to Romea, I've gone to Spiro, I've gone to Basico in Thika, I've gone to my friend Kalua's assembly plant in Karen. And the interest is, the common denominator that I see with all of them is that the demand is higher than supply. So this is a very interesting technology. So where most of us have a product, but we don't have a market, here the market is bigger than the supply. So every time I ask Basico, they are making 10 buses a month, and they have orders of 1,000 buses waiting, meaning they need 100 years to 100 months, because they're doing 10 buses a month. So they need 100 months to fill up the current orders they have. So what I see here is this is a technology that has come of age, and my request would be we need more funding, wherever that will come from, so that we can scale up our operations. Funding at two fronts: funding for the companies to source CKDs, but also funding for uptake by the customers. The other issue that I see here that needs to be looked into is the charging infrastructure has been concentrated around Nairobi. I think that we need to roll it out Mombasa, Nakuru, Kisumu, Eldoret, so that we can spread this technology to other areas. From the Ministry of Industry, we see a lot of potential in terms of supporting us to take our country forward in terms of creating employment, and we think that if we address those issues, we should be able to move forward. Thank you, PS Dakar, for driving this process. You have been very consistent, and you can see what we have achieved in 3 years, from just 2,000 units to 40 plus units. I think that we can do more working together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, PS. Karibu, Honorable Member TJ Kajwang of the Transport Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Dakar, for allowing me to say something, even when I did not think of myself worthy that I should speak today. Cabinet Secretary, distinguished Excellencies, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me speak about 4 things that come into my mind. This is the best governance model as it should be. You know, most of the times the executive sends us bills for legislation to process, and many occasions they have not been processed through policy framework. It is in this policy framework that you create a national consensus about a specific issue. We in the legislature are unable to interact with the public in terms of formulation of ideas. But we rely on the government to process this so that at the level of legislation, we are then presented with a policy which can be implemented. So seeing that you are working on a policy gives me a lot of delight. And we are waiting for you to bring them to us to be able to see how they can be implemented, number one. Number two, speaking on my representative capacity, as I was talking to the distinguished ambassadors, I represent a city constituency. I don't call it slum. It is an informal settlement. But those are comprised of young, hard-working people who are very ready to put a lot of effort in the national building. What we require is to push them and give them ideas and encourage them so that they can supplement a lot. I was talking to one of the people who are displaying those things, the tuk-tuk, and the model of the bicycles, and the model of the motorcycles. We need to think through them how they can respond to the pocket, how a young man is able to use those things and develop money for the pocket, tie them to SMEs and tie them to cooperatives so that a young man may not have capital to be able to have a startup, but through the loan systems guaranteed by the Ministry of Cooperatives and other efforts that we are bringing together, they can access some of those things. And believe you me, they are hardworking. They will really sell those pieces in a short while. And please take it to the homes. We want to see us connecting to these things in our homes, in the households. And think of the informal settlements. There we also have households. And there we also have electricity. And we also have power. So do not think about the high end and the people who wear suits like I do. And they will really be helpful. The last thing I want to say is about oversight. I noticed that this is going to spur our investments in a big way. But yes, it is beautiful and we are aspiring foreign development, but also think about the people who work the grind. That young man who cycles to Westlands to be able to deliver medicine, you know, Uber, the Bolt, and those other high-end, owners of business. Think about this young person. How much does it take home to be able to make a living? Or would we just promote the capital investor at the sake of the real person who is grinding, who is minding out his time to be able to make a living? So the tariffs, the regulatory approach, the amount of money that young man takes home should be on top of our minds. I thank you, Dakar. Thank you.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa, for that. I now want to invite representatives of the diplomatic corps, 2 of them. I will start with the ambassador of the Republic of Germany to please come and make your remarks, then followed by the deputy ambassador of the EU. Karibu Balozi.
Good morning, and thank you very much for the warm welcome. Minister Chichia, CS for Roads and Transport, PS is present, Climate Envoy, members of parliament, colleagues and friends of the diplomatic corps, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to congratulate you for the endorsement and putting into action your national strategy on e-mobility. But Minister, please allow me first of all to congratulate you for your bus driving skills, because the people sitting inside might not have recognized that we did a small tour with one of the Basico buses and he reversed perfectly. So give him a hand, please. I also say this because when our minister was here 2 weeks ago, we visited the Kibanda and he was asked to do a chapati. And I see this trend that ministers now start also to work on a second profession with a big interest, and I think diplomats should probably do the same because you never know what happens. On a more serious note, thank you very much for inviting me to this event. I'm very honored to be here with you, to be here with my European colleagues as well. As I said, Minister Wadefuhl, our foreign minister, was here just a few days ago, and he had one message. And the message was that Kenya and Germany want to work closely together on a number of fields, defending multilateralism, defending the rules-based international order, and also standing for a very progressive climate and energy policy. And Ali knows how close our teams are always working together in the COPs, and the African Climate Summit and all the other conferences that try to push this agenda forward. And one key aspect of sustainability and a clean energy transition, of course, is mobility. We have seen the figures about the emissions, how much emissions mobility is contributing. And in this regard, I really would like to congratulate you also going up from 4,000 vehicles in 23 to 40,000 vehicles in 25. German Development Corporation is active not only in helping to set up the strategy, but we are also supporting a number of companies that are doing exactly this, offering bodas with electric batteries, for example, electric tuk-tuks. And we visited one of these companies only in mid-December with the State Secretary also from Germany, and it was really impressive. So this shows also that the choice for electric mobility is not only good for the environment, it not only reduces greenhouse emissions, but it also creates jobs, it creates incomes, and it creates new business opportunities. So with this strategy, Kenya is already a front runner in clean energy, but now Kenya has also the potential to become a front runner in clean mobility and in clean transport. And I'm always deeply impressed by the willingness of the Kenyan society, the private sector, also the political elite to embrace this change, and how fast, if you take a decision, how fast you then act and implement it. In this regard, I wish also the implementation committee, the task force, all the best, and I'm very happy also that you involve development partners in this work. There are, of course, a number of challenges, and we know it also from our German experience, that you need the charging infrastructure, you need attractive tariffs also for charging, you need also the technical expertise in this ecosystem of e-mobility, but I'm very sure that all this will build up in a record time here in Kenya. So we will remain committed to support Kenya in translating this policy into action and impact, also as was said earlier by the users, so that the Kenyan population can benefit from the economic, from the climate, and from the health-related advantages of electric mobility. Germany also is active in this market with reliable and durable products that more than offset their initial higher costs. I know that sometimes we are a bit more expensive than our competitors from Asia, but I can assure you also that our quality is very, very good. We will with this innovative solutions, we hope that charging infrastructure will be easily accessible to all users. including, of course, then to combine it, but this is a small step only, with M-Pesa payments. Furthermore, with sustainable approaches for the reuse and subsequent recycling of vehicle batteries, which is, I think, the next technological frontier to be managed. So we really continue to look forward to continue this partnership with Kenya. We want to learn from the Kenyan experience. Probably you can learn here and there from the German and European experience. So it's a joint learning curve that we are going through. Once again, I say to the whole team, Hongera sana and asanteni sana. Thank you very much.
Please, the Deputy Ambassador of the European Union.
CS for Roads and Transport, Davis Church here, members of the Parliament, PS is present, my two brothers, the Ambassador of Germany and the head of European Investment Bank in East Africa, representatives of the private sector, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is truly a great honor for me to be here today on behalf of the European Union for this official launch of Kenya's national electric mobility policy, which we see as a landmark step in the country's journey towards a cleaner, more resilient, and also more competitive economy. The European Union is proud to have supported the development of this policy together with Germany in a Team Europe spirit and as part of our Global Gateway strategy, in close partnership with the government of Kenya and all its institutions. This policy is more than a strategic document. It is a clear signal of Kenya's ambition to lead Africa's transition towards green and sustainable transport. CS, allow me to warmly congratulate you and your other counterparts in the government for Kenya's outstanding leadership in renewable energy. I think Sebastian already mentioned, with more than 90% of electricity generated from renewable sources, Kenya is not only a regional champion, it is a global reference, and you should be proud of that. Your country's vision recognizes that electric mobility is not just about transport, it is about industrial development, about job creation, about energy security, and also about better environment for Kenyan citizens. Electric mobility certainly matters a lot for Kenya. It allows the country to fully leverage its clean energy advantage, reduce fuel imports, lower transport costs, and build new value chains, from manufacturing and assembly to charging infrastructure and digital services. We, the European Union, our member states, our financial institutions, and our vibrant private sector are already active partners in this transformation. European companies are investing in electric buses, motorcycles, charging solutions, batteries, and smart mobility systems in Kenya. One specific example is the Swedish-Kenyan electric mobility company Rome that we also saw outside, one of Kenya's and Africa's fastest growing companies. But there are many others who can be part of the implementation of your policy. Through the European Union Global Gateway Initiative, we are committed to mobilizing more sustainable investments, sharing technology and supporting skills development to turn ambition and policy into impact. And this is where your policy sends a very strong message. Kenya is open for green investment and ready to shape the future of mobility. We as the European Union stand firmly with Kenya on this journey. We are marking this year half a century of diplomatic relations between Kenya and the European Union. 50 years of partnership that, as today, continues to demonstrate that together we can turn ambition into action and opportunity into prosperity. CS, once again, our congratulations on this launch, and I look forward to the European companies being part of the implementation. I thank you very much. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Deputy Ambassador. I failed to recognize very key stakeholders of ours who are, I see the Matatu Owners Association. Mr. Albert Karakacha, please stand and wave. I don't know if your members are also here. I also see, yes, I also see the Federation of Public Transport Sector, the BSG, Edwin Mukabana is there. I don't know if there are any other members. Are there any public transport circles with us today? Because you are the people who, yes, please stand so that we can recognize you. We have, yes, we have several Matatu circles with us here today. These are the very critical sectors that move this city and this country. We appreciate you, and you are the drivers. We see you at the forefront. This 100 days production value chain that is pending, I am sure it's your orders. I see Mercy, is that you? Yes, from the Kenya Transporters Association, very key stakeholders in this sector. Now, before I invite the Cabinet Secretary, I want the Climate Envoy, Mr. Ali Dawood. He is our envoy in these matters, anything related to climate change. Please welcome and make your remarks and invite the Cabinet Secretary. Karibu sana.
Your Excellency, our Cabinet Secretary, distinguished ambassadors, Ambassador Sebastian, the Deputy Ambassador, PSS, and all protocol observed. Let me begin by congratulating you, Mr. CS, and your whole ministry for this tremendous milestone that we have been able to achieve so far. In 2023, when we held the first climate summit here, you will all recall that His Excellency President Ruto drove in a little EV, thanks to my friend here there. And for the 3 days of the summit, His Excellency was driving every day. From that day to now, I think there is something to celebrate for this country. As a global community, as Ambassador of Germany has said, we have committed to transition away from fossil fuels. In 2023, in Dubai, we all agreed that we will transition away from fossil fuels. Our country does not have fossil fuels. Yet, as we saw from the presentation of the PS, we're expending over $500 million, over $500 million, I think 600-something million, was it 660 billion every year importing fossil fuel. Yet we can tap the God-given energies that we have and, improve our health, improve our economies. So this is a great achievement for all of us. In Belém last year during the climate summit, we pushed so hard to get a roadmap for transition away from fossil fuel. We did not achieve it, but we'll continue to push the same. As the world moves from fossil fuel to clean fuels, our country is proud to have 93% electric clean energy. But the world is also moving fast. Last year, I think most of the countries already surpassed the 50% clean energy. And so our 93% will soon be caught up. Most of the world last year overcame. I saw the presentation by our PS. I think our EVs and ICE will cross around 2040 something. But already in the world, EVs have overtaken ICE vehicles, internal combustion engine vehicles last year. And so we don't want to become the dumping site for mitumbas of vehicles that will be dropped, as we are seeing, of course, in the clothing industry. So CS, I think it's a great thing, and it's important that we push this agenda and the implementation, and we are thankful to our partners for supporting us in this process. So looking forward to supporting all of you. The President is very committed to ensuring that we become the green industrialization capital of Africa. Already we have an African Green Industrialization Initiative that we are hosting here in Kenya, as you probably have seen during the last Africa Climate Summit that we hosted in Addis Ababa. His Excellency, mobilized over $100 billion from just African investors alone to fast-track green industrialization in the continent. And that is the direction that the world is taking. And so, as others have said, green industrialization is the future, green mobility is the future, not just because of climate change. Of course, climate change is a reality. There are those who say it is a hoax, but us in Kenya, in Africa, and all over the world indeed, we are living the reality of climate change. And so we need to take action on climate change, not just because of the issue of climate change per se, but because it impacts our health, it impacts our economies. And it's, as the lady from the operator has said, it is good for the pockets. So we need to take action on climate change. You are aware what's happening in our country today. Parts of our country is experiencing a very serious, severe drought situation. And so that is the reality. Unless we do something about climate change, it's going to impact us, all of us. Last year, the World Meteorological Organization released the report. It was the third hottest year in the world. The year before was the hottest, 2023, 24 was the hottest, 23 was the hottest, and so forth. So the last decade was the hottest, and it continues to become hotter. So it behoves all of us, as members of the global community, to take action. And we're proud as Kenya that we are leading by examples. At the Africa Climate Summit, we said Kenya, Africa provides solutions to climate problem. And that is what we are doing here. So, Minister, PS, and all of us, I think it's a great thing that we are showing by example what Africa can achieve, what Kenya can achieve. With those few remarks, Your Excellency Minister, may I take this opportunity to invite you. Please give a warm welcome to His Excellency Minister for Transport.
Thank you, Ali, for those remarks. Good morning, it's still morning. Let me start by acknowledging Ambassador from Germany, Sebastian, your colleague from European Union, the head of EIB, Edward in East Africa, colleagues, principal secretaries, members of the Committee on Transport from Parliament, the entire industry supporting e-mobility, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really happy to be here today wearing two hats. I've been sent by His Excellency the President with apologies. He's not able to come and be part of what he loves most to basically do. When he stood here, like Ali Dawood said in 2013, to address his colleagues after rallying Africa climate change and providing Africa leadership. Climate change for us is really about energy security. Climate change is about growing our economy by harnessing our own natural resources in wind, geothermal, solar, and so on and so forth. And would have really loved to be here, but I will be delivering his statement. And because his statement has all the items that I would have liked to speak to, I will not speak much, but let me just make my remarks by acknowledging the support from the industry and for those of us who put this day together to come and launch this national e-mobility policy, a true statement on how we wish to go forward as a country to grow our economy, to address issues of energy security, given the fact that our import bill for petroleum alone is at a high of about $6 billion annually. If you look at import balance, and we are using our dollars from the hard-earned labor in export of tea and export of the services we export to bring in fuels. Yet we can harness wind, we can harness solar, we can harness our geothermal and run our economy with clean energy, and then therefore bring down the cost of doing business and ensure that we secure our dollars for better use. The e-mobility policy has been worked on, Mheshimiwa Kajwang, from industry. So we don't need public participation. It is the industry themselves who chaired the committee that put together this policy. When the Matatu Association and everybody is seeking to speak to the minister about addressing policy, the policy has been on your hands. We really allowed you to help us to craft the policy with us. We've formed those technical working groups that my peers talked about, and that will continue to engage. I think we sit in various technical working groups, and we should be able to really polish and improve the policy to be able to achieve the goals and purpose of ensuring that we fully go green on our mobility sector. I was just talking to Ambassador Groth Sebastian earlier on, and he was telling me about the mistakes Germany did in managing subsidy. And so there is so much to learn as we adopt the e-mobility policy. We learn from industry, we learn from the international community who are ahead of us, but it is a nascent space, and we'll continue to work together to manage the universe. President will tell us climate change is not about putting up a nice room in a corner and air conditioning so that you live comfortably in Germany or in the UK. Climate change, when climate really reacts, it's very difficult, like when we've seen the rains and the various weather challenges, including the heat. It will not matter whether we can generate so much power to cool our homes or drain our roads. When it rained a while ago and I was in the city of Dubai, everywhere was flooded, and it just gets that difficult if we don't manage climate. And therefore, let me just, as Minister, acknowledge the work done by the committee. Thank you for the great work done. Thank you for the support from the partners in putting together this policy. We want to confirm that as we head to Parliament, we'll continue to polish, to support industry, to ensure that we have a policy that works for us, a policy that helps us to grow our economy and manage climate. Without much ado, allow me to then read the President's statement that he would have really loved to be here as a climate champion, and thereafter launch the new registration number plates that I want to challenge us. Anybody in this room will give ourselves some critical timeline to be on the green number plates to ensure that you are truly supporting green mobility. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to begin by warmly welcoming you all to launch of Kenya's National Electric Mobility Policy, a landmark step in our journey towards a cleaner, more resilient, and future-ready transport system. I take this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation to all stakeholders who contributed to the development of this policy. In particular, I wish to acknowledge our development partners, the European Union, the Federal Republic of Germany through GIZ, the United Kingdom through the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, the International Finance Corporation, and the University of California, Davis, USA, for the invaluable technical assistance, financial support, and capacity building efforts throughout this process, and for their continued partnership as we move into implementation. I wish to commend officials from both the public and private sector whose leadership and commitment have been instrumental in shaping Kenya's electric mobility agenda. To the task force that diligently steered this process, I extend my sincere gratitude for your efforts, dedication, and professionalism. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya's transport sector is a critical pillar of our economy, growth, social development, and national connectivity. However, it also faces a pressing challenge: its growing vulnerability to climate change and weather-related disruptions. In 2015, the transport sector accounted for 13% of Kenya's greenhouse gases emissions, a figure projected to rise to 17% by 2030 if no decisive action is taken. Between the year 2009 and 2019 alone, domestic transport emissions increased by 59%, with the road transport emerging as the single largest contributor, as we saw in the pie chart that Daga showed us. At the same time, the transport sector consumes approximately 72% of all petroleum products imported into the country, making it a major driver of Kenya's import bill. Ladies and gentlemen, according to Kenya's National Bureau of Statistics, petroleum products were the greatest single import category in 2022, with the importer spending on fuel products approximately Kenya shillings 628 billion, up sharply from 348 billion in 2021. This is the figure I talked about, $5 billion. This large fuel import bill reflects Kenya's heavy reliance on imported petroleum for transport, industry, power generation, and aviation, making fuel one of the most significant components of the country's total import expenditure. This growing expenditure places significant strain on our foreign exchange reserves, undermines energy security, and exposes our economy to global fuel vulnerability or volatility. It's against this backdrop that electric mobility emerges not merely as an option, but as a strategic necessity. The bottom-up economic transformation agenda, a better midterm plan for 2023-27, and Kenya's Vision 2030 all recognize e-mobility as a priority for climate change mitigation, industrial development, job creation, and sustainable economic growth. Similarly, the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto 2022-27 outlines target actions to accelerate the adoption of e-mobility, including the rollout of charging infrastructure in urban centers and along major highways, the provision of fiscal and non-fiscal incentives to industry players, and the promotion of electric mass transit system in our major cities. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya is a proud signatory to the Paris Agreement, through which we have committed to reduce greenhouse gas emission and addressing the impact of climate change. Under our update national determined contribution, Kenya has pledged to reduce emissions by 32% by 2030, relative to business as usual levels. We intend to achieve this through a low-carbon, climate-resilient development pathway that prioritizes, among other measures, the adoption of electric mobility, the development of efficient low-carbon transport system, including mass rapid transit systems such as BRTs, increased use of renewable energy in electricity generation, and we've heard that we are at close to 93% today, and therefore us, e-mobility is not about just moving a dirty fuel in energy generation to our vehicles, but really we are in a very good place. And the deployment, of course, of clean, efficient, and sustainable energy technologies. Despite these commitments, the absence until now of a comprehensive policy and legislative framework has constrained the growth of electric mobility in Kenya. The gap has limited investment, slowed innovation, hindered local manufacturing and assembly, and reduced opportunities for job creation. It has also led to missed opportunities in emission reduction, air quality improvement, and sustainable industrial development. Encouragingly, ladies and gentlemen, progress is already evident. As at 2025, Kenya has already registered a figure I want to correct because numbers are moving very fast. I think we are, from the numbers from the NTSA, National Transport Safety Authority, we are at 24,754 electric vehicles and not 43,000. And that is up from 796 vehicles in 2022, representing an over 3,000 increase in just 3 years. The border vehicle category that are widely used for the last mile connectivity registered the highest percentage increment, thanks to the various affordable EV products being introduced by financial institutions targeting the industry who are in this house today, and I want to congratulate all of us for that support. This growth signals strong market confidence and growing public acceptance of electric mobility. To further guide this transition, the government is developing a detailed national electric mobility strategy to facilitate implementation of the policy and ensure effective and coordinated execution. In addition, through the Finance Bill 2025, like has been mentioned, the government took deliberate steps to stimulate the sector by zero-rating VAT on electric buses, electric bicycles, motorcycles, and lithium-ion batteries, and equally reducing excise duty on electric bicycles, electric motorcycles, and lithium batteries. To further consolidate the gains we have made in embracing e-mobility and to strengthen the growth of this emerging industry, the government, during budgeting process, which is currently ongoing, will prioritize the acquisition of electric vehicles across all government agencies as part of their fleet enhancement strategies. This government will also in future review fiscal and non-fiscal incentives to support the industry. In the same spirit, I call upon our development partners, the private sector and non-governmental organizations, to join us in this transition by prioritizing the adoption of electric vehicles. Together, we can accelerate the shift towards sustainable transport, reduce emission, and unlock new economic opportunities for our people. Ladies and gentlemen, today the gap is decisive, addressed. The National Electric Mobility Policy that addresses all modes of transport establishes a clear, coordinated, and enabling framework to guide the adoption, regulation, and expansion of electric mobility in Kenya. It supports investments in e-mobility ecosystem, strengthens institutional coordination, fosters innovation, and encourages meaningful private sector participation. Through this policy, we aim to decarbonize and modernize our transport sector, reduce greenhouse gases emission, improve air quality, enhance energy security, and advance our broader climate commitments, while unlocking the immense potential of electric mobility to create green jobs, drive inclusive economic growth under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. By leveraging Kenya's abundant renewable energy resources to power this transition, we are well positioned to reduce over-reliance on imported fossil fuels, strengthen energy security, and generate new value chains across manufacturing, assembly, and service and skill development. Ladies and gentlemen, the policy is not a pilot framework. It is a full ecosystem plan. It provides the 7 core objectives and a set of policy statements that will guide implementation across the value chain, vehicle components, charging, regulation, skills, financing, and inclusion are the same which was in the PSS presentation. But allow me to just repeat for clarity. The first being the policy establishing an institutional framework and transition target for different vehicle categories. This is critical for predictability. Investors do not scale business on uncertainty. Clear governance and targets enable manufacturers, financiers, and charging providers and fleet operators to plan, invest, and deploy at speed. The second one that we saw was the policy strengthens the legal and regulatory environment, including standards and safety. This is how we protect consumers, ensure quality, support insurance and financing, and create confidence in the market. The third, again, without the risk of really repeating so much on articulating on what the policy articulates, is the deliberately pro-industry. It promotes local manufacture and assembly of electric vehicles and builds an upstream ecosystem for auto components. This is where jobs come from: assembly lines, parts supply, workshop, charging operators, software, and after-sales service. A local electric mobility sector can stimulate economic growth by creating new industry, jobs related to manufacturing, assembly, servicing, and associated infrastructure development. The fourth that this policy addresses is the policy prioritizes infrastructure and grid readiness. We must build a reliable charging network at homes, workplace, public spaces, and along corridors. I did ask my former PS, Washira Alex, when are you giving us split meters so that we can charge at home and take advantage of the tariff, the preferential tariff that you have given to promote e-mobility? We need to be able to install a split meter at home so that when I charge my e-vehicle at home at night, I pay 8 shillings, 9 shillings, and I don't necessarily have to stop this asset on the way and charge it for 2 hours when I can charge it at night when one is resting. So let's accelerate as government the splitting meters at homes so that we can take advantage also of levelizing the grid, because we all do know that at night when we are all asleep, the grid should be generating, it shouldn't be sleeping, and therefore let's use that power at night instead of our geothermals basically being just, what do you do? What do you do at night? You basically release the steam. The fifth, the policy commits to local technical capacity and skills. The transition will only be sustainable if Kenya has enough trained technicians, mechanics, engineers, inspectors, and emergency response capacity. Skilling is not a side issue. It is the backbone of safety, reliability, and consumer trust. The policy also advances fiscal and unfiscal incentives to accelerate adoption, target manufacturers, assembly, infrastructure development, and consumers. This is how we bring down barriers such as high upfront cost, which I know is a big debate that we've been told here. The fact that the cost of entry is very high, in spite of the fact that the running cost is very low. If there's an inhibition from entry because of the high cost of entry, then it becomes a challenge. So we'll continue as government and using the instruments, the policy, and the various teams that we've set together, look at the fiscal and unfiscal incentives that can accelerate adoption of e-mobility. And finally, the policy, and importantly, addresses the social impact. The policy advances social economic measures, including gender, which our dear lady talked about. So it addresses inclusivity, gender equality, social inclusion, financial inclusion across e-mobility ecosystem. This ensures that transition is not limited to premium vehicles. It must work for ordinary Kenyans and for the sector that moves our economy every day. Ladies and gentlemen, This is where I want to speak directly to the border and small vehicle economy. We know that 2- and 3-wheelers are at the heart of last mile mobility. The policy recognizes that the growth in EV registration has been driven largely by 2-wheelers, rising strongly from 2018 to date. This tells us something. The sector is ready, the demand is real, and with the right framework, we can scale responsibly. For the border rider and the small business vehicle operator, e-mobility is not an abstract concept. It is about the day-to-day economics. It's about lowering operating costs, like we've been told, reducing exposure to fuel price vulnerability or volatility, and increasing take-home income. It is also about creating a new service economy, battery charging and swapping stations, maintenance and spare parts, digital fleet management providers, and local assembly. For the country, these benefits are multiple. Every electric motorcycle or small electric vehicle that replaces a petrol unit reduces the demand for imported fuel. That means reduced foreign currency outflows and a stronger balance of trade. It means more money circulating in the local economy instead of leaving the country at the pump. Finally, the policy anticipates the future of road financing. As EV adoption grows, reliance on fuel levy as the primary source of road maintenance funding will face pressure. This policy therefore provides for sustainable alternative financing mechanism, ensuring we continue to develop and maintain our roads network while we modernize the transport energy base. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just say I'm encouraged to know that through the proposed institutional and implementation framework, implementation of the policy has started in earnest, including the electric mobility training needs assessment by the Ministry of Education, the development of the National E-Mobility Digital Observation Platform, studies on the impact of electric vehicles on the road maintenance levy fund, the formulation of an e-mobility bill and sessional paper that will come to Parliament Kajwang, the development of electric vehicle charging infrastructure guidelines by Nairobi City County, the local electric vehicle assembly roadmap, initiatives on gender and inclusion in electric mobility, like has been set up in those various work groups. Ladies and gentlemen, this policy is a call to coordinate action. Government will lead, but the transition will be delivered through partnership. Counties, regulators, manufacturers, financiers, innovators, fleet operators, the border sector, and our development partners. I wish to reaffirm the government's unwavering commitment to building a cleaner, smarter, affordable, and more sustainable transport system for our country. We will also be reaching out to our neighboring countries to ensure a harmonized approach in the development and adoption of electric mobility to facilitate seamless cross-border improvement. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, let's move with speed and with discipline, building quality standards, enabling investment, expanding infrastructure, skilling our workforce, and ensuring affordability and inclusion. If we do this well, Kenya will not only adopt electric mobility, we will build an industry, create jobs, strengthen our currency position, and deliver cleaner air and better livelihoods. Through partnership, innovation, and shared vision, we can transform our transport sector into a powerful engine of green growth, economic resilience, and environmental stewardship, one that creates opportunities for our people while safeguarding our planet. I thank you. God bless Kenya. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our Honorable CS, for that remark. I want to kindly take you through just two ceremonies, which are very short. I want to take this opportunity to now invite the Principal Secretary for Transport on stage, together with the Chairman of the Board of the National Transport and Safety Authority, to accompany you as you unveil the new electric mobility number plates. Please bring the plates. Welcome on stage, PS. For additional information, Bwana CS, these are registered number plates, and after unveiling, you'll be able to call the owners, so you can be able to hand them over to them to start using them immediately. Let's now have the number plates. May the CS have the other number plates, that one. Then the PS can have PS.
Like I did mention in my remarks, this will be the new kid in town. All EV vehicles will now be green, registered in green number plates. So, Ambassador, I don't know whether you'll continue being on red, or let's get this BMW from Germany and we give you these green number plates. So we're launching the green number plates for all e-vehicles going forward. This will be the signature for those of us who are supporting reducing the carbon footprint, and I want to encourage those of us who are participating in the national policy launch today, e-mobility launch, Banagajwang, you need to be on this registration number plate. When you go to Parliament, Engineer who? I see Engineer, yeah, this should be the way to arrive in Parliament. You need to be green. So how do we launch this, Bwana PS?
Thank you very much. Makofi tafadhali. May I at the same time now invite one of our industry players to pick these registered plates, Bwana Moses Nderitu. Where is Moses Nderitu? He's here, right here. It will be quickly followed by yes. It will be quickly followed by Habib Lukaya. So that's the plate KDW329S. Thank you very much, Bwana CS. That's for the bus. Thank you. Next on stage is Habib Lukaya for number plate KMGV 001V98. Yes. Makofi tafadhali. Thank you, CS. So as we now want to invite the CS to come and officially unveil the National Electric Mobility Policy, but before that, let me take opportunity to welcome on board the committee member for delegated legislation, National Assembly, and the Transport Committee members to just come and accompany our CS and PSS as we unveil the National Electric Mobility Policy. Karibu. Our principal secretary is present, PS Alex, PS Mbugwa, PS Mohana, please welcome on stage. And in quick succession after this, we'll have a photo session, so please just remain seated. So So CS, I will invite you to move to this buffer. Yes. So we will do this in a count of 5. Are we ready? In a count of 5, so. Nishuke. Okay. So at a count of 5, are we ready? Just have a quick see with you. Yes, please. Yes. Are we ready? Just one moment, we get enough copies. Okay. So here comes the historical moment at a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Makofi tafadhali. That is the official launch of the National Electric Mobility Policy. Amazing. Thank you for that session. So may I now ask that we have the photo session. I think our first photo session will be between the CS and the PSS and the special envoys. Thank you very much. Yes. So I will. Okay. So I want to invite the ambassador, Deputy Ambassador, European Union, German ambassador, for a photo session with any other available envoys. Please, you may join the stage kindly. Thank you. Thank you. Are we done? Okay. Thank you. So the next session is be a photo between the CS and the PS, plus the CEOs. The CEOs, for German Corporation, the World Bank, the UNEP, UN Habitat. Okay. And then as we exit with this, please, the task force members, be ready to come on stage in quick succession just after this.
Just task force members.
Yes, yes. Please, task force members, make your way to the stage. Thank you. One more person. Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. So then the last session is task force members, led by the chair and the vice chair. Please spread, there's more space this side. There's space, there's space. Okay. Ready? Thank you. Thank you very much. So, CS, if you allow, may I now ask the band to sing the national anthem?
We have come to the end of the program. I will request the CS to remain behind, and we are going to close how we opened with the national anthem once the members of the task force have exited the podium.